Good morning. My name is Tracy Trypuc. Welcome to Your Health Matters. Before I introduce my guests, I'd like to share some important facts. Suffolk County is proud to be the home of the largest number of veterans in New York State. We have approximately 80,000 veterans in our county. Unfortunately, Suffolk also has the largest populations of homeless veterans. Estimates are of about 700 to 800 homeless veterans. 1 in 4 homeless individuals are veterans. Fortunately, we also have very passionate and committed veterans organizations who work tirelessly to assist veterans and their families. Now I would like to welcome my guests. Today we have with us J Rago, an outreach coordinator for the Supportive Services for Veterans Families program at Suffolk County United Veterans, a project of Association of Mental Health and Wellness, and Rich Dellasso, an outreach coordinator for the SSVF program at the Economic Opportunity Council of Suffolk. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you for being here today. This is a very important topic, and I really appreciate you being here. As a daughter of a disabled veteran, I really appreciate the work that you do for our veterans and their families. So, John and Rich, I would like you to, if you can expand on some of these facts. I understand that approximately 1/3 of the homeless veterans have served in a war zone. Would you like to tell us more about that, please, John?
Well, yes, that is true. I'm not sure how that relates to them being homeless, but it could be because they suffer PTSD from what they experienced in the war, or just other factors that come into being in a war zone.
Okay. And 89% received an honorable discharge? Okay.
Yes, that's extremely high number. So it's not like veterans that just didn't perform well in the military. To earn an honorable discharge, you had to perform your duties well.
Okay. And we can discuss this again later when we talk about eligibility for services. Okay, 76% have a mental health and/or substance abuse problem.
Yeah, that's a disturbing fact, which is one of the reasons why that the Association for Mental Health and Wellness actually merged with Suffolk County United Veterans, and now we are a project of Association for Mental Health and Wellness to just supply a overall, just combine the two to help veterans and those with mental and substance abuse issues.
Oh, I think that's a very important point, and actually I think that's a great merger because it's important to deal with both problems at the same time.
Exactly, it's a total package.
So, and women's veterans have a 3.6 time the risk for homelessness, as do their counterparts in the community.
Yes, and that's a fact that's being realized now in greater detail. In fact, we are really focusing now on homeless female veterans in our program.
Think that sometimes the public forgets that women are serving in the military, so they don't recognize them as a group that is out there. I mean, they're not often, when they're in civilian clothes, they're not often recognized as a veteran.
That's right, and if I ask you to think of a homeless person, I can almost guarantee you're thinking of a man.
Yes. Okay. So, John, then what are some of the eligibility requirements?
Well, first, you have to have, other than a dishonorable discharge, served 1 day of active duty, which is far better than the normal amount of time you have to serve for other VA benefits. Okay. And not counting training, you have to actually serve 1 day of active duty. And the other qualification is you have to make less than the adjusted median income for Suffolk County, which for a single person is $36,800 right at this time.
Okay. Rich, would you like to add?
Yeah, basically, what John said, the qualifications are going to be the most important thing. Unfortunately, we've conducted intakes with folks that aren't going to qualify for the program, but from that point, we're certainly not going to just say, oh, sorry, you don't qualify, good luck. Maybe you don't qualify for this program, but we are resourceful enough to be able to give them a jumping off point to be able to find services that they may require.
Okay.
As far as the criteria, it's going to boil down to exactly what John said, the 1 day of active duty, any type of discharge aside from dishonorable, which is what separates this program from other VA programs. And the adjusted mean income, how much money are they making? Obviously, we're not in a position to, throw money around, but, these people, they have to meet a certain criteria, these folks, and that's the way it is, unfortunately. Like I said, though, we're certainly not going to just wish people luck if they don't qualify for the program. We want to at least, at bare minimum, point them in the right direction.
So, Rich, then, would you like to share with our viewers what some of the supportive services are that are available to veterans?
Absolutely. We offer case management. This program, it's a federally funded program. It's federally funded through the VA. So we offer intensive case management. Our goal is to enroll a veteran within 90 days and have them discharged within 90 days from the program. During the course of that 90-day period, we want to get them sustainable housing if they were, chronically homeless prior to that. We recently hired an employment specialist, which is great. A lot of veterans, especially if they were homeless on the street at one point, or, the fact is we live in Suffolk County, Long Island. The economy's still in the midst of bouncing back, so people are looking for work. Having an employment specialist is going to help us out tremendously. We have a housing counselor her job is strictly to find affordable housing for these veterans. A lot of folks, they think homeless people aren't necessarily going to have an income, and that's not the case at all with a lot of our veterans. They are receiving some type of Social Security disability, maybe a VA disability or a VA pension from a service-connected disability that they had. So it's kind of, again, it's a jumping off point for us to be able to sustainably house them. We're certainly not going to take a veteran that's making $1,200 a month and put them in a $2,500 a month apartment and send them to Mauritius. It wouldn't make sense. So, that is the main goal. We operate on what's called a housing first model. We want to make sure we get a roof over their head first and foremost, and then offer any wraparound services they may need after the fact. Again, because of the relationships that we've cultivated, if a veteran doesn't know that they're entitled to, and that's the biggest thing about it, is the education portion of it. People don't know when they get out of the military what they might be entitled to. GI Bill benefits, educational benefits, service-connected disabilities. If they blew out their knee while they were in the military 30 years ago and they still have knee problems, they could put in a service-connected disability and get VA benefits through that. So, that's just it's a handful of the things that we offer. But again, we operate on that housing first model. So first and foremost, we want to get them sustainably housed, and then let them know everything else after that. We certainly don't want to put the cart in front of the horse.
And could you mention the job fairs, please?
Absolutely. We attended a job fair. What was it? It was September, October. It was at Brentwood, Suffolk County Community College, the Brentwood campus. They had 80 different employers, and I think there was upwards of 500 veterans that attended this job fair. It was really good to see the look on these people's faces. I mean, these companies were specifically there because they want to hire veterans. You see it all the time. If you want the job done right, hire a vet. These are people that are, they're smart. They can think on their feet because that's what they were trained to do. So, we're hoping, and I'm sure they're going to wind up doing it again next year. I mean, it was definitely a huge success.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that, so I'm glad. Thank you for sharing.
Sure.
John, can you please share with our viewers some of the services that are available to veterans?
Sure. The program offers temporary financial assistance in the way of first month's rent, security deposit, some moving expenses, some child care services. But the main focus is the case management, because we want the veteran to succeed, and some of those things are employment, like Rich said, to help with employment. Toro Law provides pro bono legal services. There are also financial management services, budget services, things like that. Just want to make sure that the veteran succeeds. You can't solve a problem by just throwing money at it. You have to have the case management services to make sure that the veteran, once the temporary financial services are exhausted, that they will be able to sustain themselves in their own permanent housing.
That's what I love about this, is you both are from different organizations, but you share the same mission and goal. And so your organizations are collaborating with one another. And that's really positive and beneficial to our veterans. So I think that's really great that your organizations are doing that. And I applaud that very much. Okay, so both of you go to the homeless community to connect with veterans wherever they are, and you let them know about your services and offer assistance. We have a photo of one of the encampments that you came upon last Friday, I believe it was. Can we please see that photo? This is the one that we discussed about that encampment that you came upon. Can you describe what you saw there? It was a gentleman who actually kind of built himself like a house in the woods.
Yes, he built himself quite a number of structures in this area, deep in the woods. You would never know he was there. We received a tip that he was there, and he had a separate. I think this picture shows his tent. That's like his living room, where he sits during the day, and he has some food items in there and other things in there. But he also has another tent about 20 feet away where he sleeps. He has a shelf with glasses evenly spaced on the shelf like it was in his dining room. He has a hibachi where he does his cooking. He has a clothesline where he washes and hangs his clothes and things like that. And he's content there. He also earns money by shoveling snow for various locations in the community, storefronts and things, sidewalks. And a proprietor, he says, I do it for one pizza shop where he feeds me and gives me a few dollars for shoveling. He has a few accounts that he has, so he's kind of wishing for snow this time of year. But he's very resourceful. He makes sure he keeps himself clean by going into various public facilities, things like that. And he's content there and doesn't want to leave. He's very resourceful.
And so when you come upon people like this and they're content in living where they are, what kind of things can you provide them to help them through this harsh winter?
Sure. We've done it on plenty of occasions. You're going to go out there, and some of these folks might suffer from mental health illness or substance abuse, and they say, no, I'm happy where I am. By that point, every time we go out into the woods, we got to make sure that we have stuff on us. We want to at least, at bare minimum, give these folks a reason to listen to us. So we bring out what's called an MRE, which is a meal ready to eat. All you got to do is add water. We bring out warm clothing. It's kind of waving the white flag, just giving them a reason to listen to what we have to say, and kind of establishing that rapport with them. If they tell us to get lost and they never want to see us again, by that point, okay, if you decide to change your mind, we have even if it's a homeless individual that isn't a veteran. I mean, you certainly don't want to see anybody sleeping in the woods, but you can't force somebody to do something they don't want to do. So the most you could do is give them a warm handshake, give them maybe some meals, some gloves, something to help them sustain themselves throughout the course of the winter, and go from there. Remind them that if they do need the help, that they can reach out to you, and they can in fact you know, touch base with you, and we would, regardless of if it's a veteran or not, we would certainly go out there and again point them in the right direction of the people that can help them.
And you provide blankets as well, correct?
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
Which are, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
All donations. We work with Long Island Cares and Island Harvest. They supply a lot of the food that we give out to the homeless. But the public are fantastic. The community supports Suffolk County United Veterans tremendously. They're always dropping off donations and items for our veterans, for the residents of the shelter that we run, but also we use them for to distribute to homeless veterans that we find and non-veterans that we come across.
Okay, so John, you are a veteran from the, you were in the Navy
Yes.
during the Vietnam era, and Rich, you are a veteran from the Army, and you were in the Iraq War.
Yes.
Yes. So what I'd like to know is, and I would like to thank you both for your service.
Thank you.
And we
Thank you,
really
your father,
appreciate
too,
it.
for his service.
Yeah, thanks. Describe your passion for your work and how these situations affect those you reach out to and how they affect you from your personal experiences.
Well, I got to be involved with veterans of issues after I retired from my career as an appliance service technician for General Electric. I retired in 2011. I secured a position with the town of Brookhaven in February of 2012 as their veteran service officer. I was there for a year and a half, and I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed helping veterans and being involved. And I met so many wonderful people in the veteran community that after I left the town of Brookhaven, this opportunity with Suffolk County United Veterans came up, and I decided, to get on board. And it's just been wonderful. Now it's over a year, and it's just a very fulfilling thing that I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Plus, my service was pretty tame. I actually had a good time. I was a sonar tech on nuclear submarines. Never went to Vietnam, so I had it pretty easy. And there's a lot of guys out there that didn't have it as easy, including Rich here, who was actually in the war. So it's just my way of saying thank you to those men and women that suffered tremendously through their service and the things that they had to do and things that they experienced.
Well, it shows in your service now, so it is greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
I can see your passion. Rich, would you like to share?
Sure. I mean, my passion for it definitely it stems from a lot of things. Obviously, the time that I spent in the Army, the time that I spent in Iraq. But I think the thing that really got me motivated to work with veterans, I attended the University of Central Florida. I got a job as a work-study student, helping as a veteran service rep, helping recently returning veterans to use their GI Bill. By that point, I had already been through the gamut, and was able to point these people in the right direction, and see the frustration in their face. And again, these are guys that are maybe 3-4 months back from Iraq or Afghanistan, and you could see the frustration. And all right, well, relax. Here's what's going to happen, and don't worry, we'll get through it. And if you have questions, you always come back and ask me. And I mean, it was a very, very low-paying job as a work-study, but I found it very rewarding because, again, a lot of these guys, they came back. It was the deer in the headlights look. So my passion stemmed from that. I, graduated. I moved back up to Long Island. I got a job, which I shortly thereafter got laid off from. I went back to school, and the opportunity for this position presented itself. And I, as soon as I read the description, it was me to a T. The passion that I have for it, I mean, it comes again from a long line of things. But I served in Iraq. My father is a Vietnam veteran. My grandfather is a World War II veteran who served in the Pacific Theater. So the way I like to look at it is we attempt to advocate for folks who not that they can't or they won't, folks who don't know how to advocate for themselves. I think it's so important, especially younger people of my generation. It's so easy for me to be able to connect with them because we have that bond in common. Whether it was Iraq or Afghanistan, it's a same idea. And the big portion of it is, I mean, if they could take one thing that I've learned from the 10 years that I've been out of the military, that I've learned up until this point, that I'm doing my job. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. If one person decides to go to school on the GI Bill that they didn't know they were entitled to prior because they said, well, I was able to do this, so all of a sudden now it's possible, So yeah, it stems from a lot of things, but I as far as I'm concerned, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I could, set a good example for my family and, my children, and, I could put my head to pillow at night and know that we're fighting a good fight. It's not sometimes it can be an uphill battle, but we're doing good work, and we're putting a dent in the population that so desperately needs people to advocate for them.
Well, I thank you both for the work that you're doing. And I know that there are many people in Suffolk County that appreciate the work that you're doing. So I applaud your efforts.
Thank you.
And I thank you for being here today. I would like to thank my guests, J Rago from the Supportive Services for Veterans Families at Suffolk County United Veterans, and Rich Dellasso from the Economic Opportunity Council of Suffolk. Please tune in next week for another Your Health Matters, when my guest will be newly elected Suffolk County Controller John Kennedy. Thank you, and I wish you a safe and healthy day.